Welcome everybody to Returning to Torah. Again, it is the final take and we did it.
Yes. All
Praise
praises.
Yah. Oh my
All
goodness.
praises.
Wow. All praise to the Most High Yahweh. We thank him. Thank you so much, all of you, for your patience and your love and your support and the push and the prayers. And mad shout outs to Brother Darius. Brother Darius coming in with the MVP right now. Thank you so much, Brother
All
Darius. Give me
praises.
the final
All
push.
praises.
Just get
Yes.
this thing going. We were
Yeah.
resilient, consistent, and like I said
hmm
in the very beginning, when the children of Yah put their best foot forward to
Yep.
do the work of the Most High, there's
Yeah.
going to be resistance. There's going to be
Yeah.
problems, going to be issues. But guess what?
Yep.
Here we are. We did it.
Yeah.
And now, the moment that you all been waiting for, I need you guys to go ahead and show some love for Brother Darius in the comment section. Just go ahead. Just do that thing. Just go ahead and do it. And we're going to get this conversation started. It is the time that it was supposed to be. That's how it was ordained to be, and that's
Yep.
how it is. And we're going to give
Yes.
thanks for all of that. And thank you for sticking it through. You guys are amazing. You guys are so great. Take a couple of seconds, share this live broadcast now that we got it on a different platform and streaming all the way over here to YouTube. Go ahead and share this live broadcast with someone that you know needs to hear this story on tonight. Take a couple of seconds. Go ahead and do that. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome everybody back to Returning to Torah. Here we are. I am your host, Liana-Ruth Watson, here with our brother, Darius. Brother Darius, how you doing, brother?
Blessed. I am blessed. We finally got it. All praises to Yah.
Yes, all praises to Yahweh. All right, let's jump right into the conversation tonight.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do this. Okay, first and foremost, we are talking about returning to Torah. So like I mentioned to you before, I know nothing about your journey, and there's plenty of others online right now who know nothing about your journey.
Yeah.
Tell us, how did your journey begin?
Okay, you want the Cliff Note version or you want the feature film version?
Listen, we already here, so you might as well just give it to us. You might as well give it all to us. Give it all. Give it all to us. Let us know.
So my journey literally started, the seed was planted literally in 1992.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And then it took about 6 years from when that seed actually got really implanted for me to kind of click over, and I will explain. So I grew up in Christian church, Baptist church. My grandfather was a minister. My grandfather was a pastor. Pastor is the own church for over 50 years. Sweet Home Baptist Church out in Watts, California, in Los Angeles. And so grew up there. I've been in church since I was 6 months old, right? Then my grandfather got sick, and then my dad took over because my dad and my uncle were the only two ministers within that family structure, right? And so my family and I moved back to Los Angeles because we were living in Dallas, Texas for about 4 years. We moved back to LA so my dad can take over the church. And reason why I'm saying this is because this is when the first seed was planted, because my dad was giving a Bible study one night. And out of everything, again, we're talking about 1992, 1993. Out of everything that I've learned, that I had learned or remembered, there was one thing that stuck with me my whole life, which was when my dad was giving his Bible study, he said, apparently there is a lost tribe of Israel, and that's supposedly us as Black folks. But this was pre-internet. If you wanted to look something up, you had to go to the library and get the little newspaper reel and kind of, or get an encyclopedia. You couldn't just Google anything. Like the internet wasn't a thing. So that's all he had. And so that literally kind of stuck with me. And the reason why I say that is because now we fast forward to even the point of me living in Arizona was a divine thing by the Most High. Because I had just moved to Arizona, years in Christianity. I was even a minister at the last church I was at in Los Angeles, as the drummer. And it took me being here in Arizona, where I'm isolated by myself. I wasn't around any family for real. And I had the opportunity to move to back to Dallas. My job was going to pay for me to move to Dallas. And I was like, nope, I'm already set to move to Arizona. You know, I want to be close to my daughter. And I didn't, you know, I was going to move to the Vegas area, you know, suburb of Vegas. And that didn't pan out. I was like, nope, not going to do that because I don't want to be an Airbnb or a tour guide every weekend. So I'm going to move to Arizona. I have friends here. And so while I was here, I'm isolated and I'm not involved in any sort of churches. So if had I stayed in LA, I would have stayed in Christianity. Had I moved to Dallas, I would have stayed in Christianity because I have a big family and that's where they're spread out. By me being here, I wasn't involved in any churches and I was kind of done with the church in a way because it's just like everybody says where they're like, yeah, just something didn't feel right. You know, like I was in church, something just didn't feel right. And I don't know what it was. And so that's what it was for me. Like things didn't add up. The 3 days and 3 nights didn't add up. Friday to Sunday. That didn't add up. Why is there so many denominations? That didn't add up. And so I'm questioning this throughout my teenage years. And so now I'm in my early 30s. I'm here in Arizona and I'm scrolling on Facebook. And this post came up and said, Black people, you are the true children of Israel. Now, again, the seed was planted in 1992. Normally, I would have scrolled past it like, yo, you sound goofy. But because of that seed that was planted in 92, the Holy Spirit brought that to my remembrance. And so I was like, I remember my dad saying something about this, you know, back then. So I read the article, super long article, but it's breaking down Deuteronomy 28. And as I'm reading it, I was like, that makes sense, but you can make the Bible say anything if you know how to twist the words up, right? Like I was fully aware of things like that. So I took note of it, but I just didn't dive right into it. And this was like 2016, right? So now we have the second seed planted. So then we go and as a music producer, I was working with an artist and we're recording his album. And so we're recording one of the songs and he says a line about the ish, right? He's like, they're not even Jews though, not even Jew-ish, right? And so I'm like, yo, you're trying to break into an industry that they run, right? It's just like, and he's like, yeah, I know what I'm saying. It's the truth though. And I'm just like, okay, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, but that was another seed planted. Then Nick Cannon, when Nick Cannon had that interview with Professor Griff.
Yes,
and that's when I learned that Professor Griff got kicked out of Public Enemy back in the early 90s because he said he was a Jew, right? And Nick Cannon was saying like, yeah, I can't be anti-Semitic because I'm Semitic, right? So I can't be anti-Semitic because I'm also a Semitic person. And then he got in trouble for that. And so when and during this time I had some white friends that we used to debate and stuff with, just friendly debates and things about race and stuff like that. And so when I seen all that stuff happening to Nick Cannon, he got a show taken from him and the whole nine. And when I looked online, I was like, why are people mad at Nick Cannon? And everything online pointed to he said something anti-Semitic. But when I asked my white friends, they was like, oh, he called us savages. And he said we wouldn't have anything. Like, he did say that, but it was like, I'm getting two different stories from people I talked to versus the media. So something like the Spirit told me, look up the word Semitic and look at the word anti-Semitic. So when I did those two things, there were two different definitions. I said, how is there two different definitions for anti something? Because if you're anti something, shouldn't it be anti the original definition? And do this to this day, unless they changed it since I last looked at it, you will get two different definitions of anti-Semitic and Semitic. When you see Semitic tells you it's a dark-skinned race of people. But when you look up anti-Semitic, it's only, it's hatred towards the Jewish people. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And then so that then started to grow that seed. Because I'm like, okay, they're trying to hide something and there's something here. Then we go again to because of my studio connections, things of that nature, there was a minister in LA who I used to play drums for his wife. And are half hours away to do it, right? And he's like, no, I want to go out there. I just want to get away anyway. I said, okay, cool, come through. So he came through for the weekend, and his message that he was recording was about him, realizing he was an Israelite. So mind you, I recorded this message, and he wanted me to do a lot of stuff and make it sound like he was in front of a live audience and all this. So I'm doing all this stuff for like the course over a week, and I'm hearing this message over and over again how he discovered he was an Israelite. That's another seed planted. Then we get to Kanye West. Kanye West saying this stuff, but
Yep.
Kanye West is crazy, right? So you can write him off, but it's still planting the seed for me, right? Then now we're in year 6 from 2016, and 6 years later, the final straw was Kyrie Irving. When Kyrie Irving posted the link to Hebrews to Negroes,
Yeah.
Wake Up Black America, and that's all he did, and
Yes.
they took him through the
Yes.
ringer, paying $50 million to the
Yes.
Jewish Foundation. He has to apologize, go kiss the wall, like the whole nine. They suspended him, like the whole nine. That then caused my brother to say, you know what? Why are they doing this to Kyrie? All he did was posted the link, and my spirit said to tell him, go read Deuteronomy 28, and tell me who you think those people are, because I think they're trying to hide that. And he went and read it. 20 minutes later, he calls me back. That's us. We those people. We the people. Like, it can't be nobody else. Like, we're the Jews. And I was like, you might be right. And then the rest is history. And so here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. So you have been on a journey for years then.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that happened overnight. It wasn't something that just happened by mere coincidence. It seemed like the Most High had you over a period of time, opening your eyes and showing you different things. And so it was a slow, drawn out process.
Right. Because I'm very analytical. Those who know me know I just don't just fall for anything. Like, I'm going to dissect this thing. I don't care what it is. Like, it's if I get involved in it and I really put my heart into it. I have done a lot of like researching, looking into it, dissecting it, taking it apart. Okay, what is wrong with this thing? Okay, what is right with this thing? Right? I'm looking at things. Even when I study the scriptures now, I try to understand why people believe things opposite of what I believe. So I literally try to look at it from their lens, because that helps me understand. When I speak to people who, for example, feel the laws are done away with, I understand why you think that. Here, but let me give you this alternate idea of what to think about. But I'm not going to be ignorant coming into this conversation. So I didn't want to be ignorant coming into this thing. And also, what came to mind a lot of times was that scripture that says, in the last days, beware of false prophets, and there's going to be doctrines of devils and things of that nature. So part of in my head was, is this a doctrine of devils? You know what I mean? Being that we're the Israelites, because all my life it's, don't say anything about the Jewish people. You're going to go to hell. Like, you say anything bad. Like, I was scared to say anything bad about them at all. Right. Because it was implanted in us. Those are the God's chosen people. You say anything bad about them, lake of fire. So it was one of those things where it's like, I don't want to come into this thing and I'm claiming this identity or whatever the case may have you. Because that was another thing as well during this time period. The Most High put it on my heart to try to find out who I was, because we didn't start in 1619. Where was we prior to that?
Exactly.
So all of that just became a culmination of, here we are.
And here we are. Praise Yah. So if I fast forward now, you mentioned 1992. I heard you talk about 2016 and all the contributing factors that help awaken you, like open your eyes and stuff like that. Some celebrity people that played a role and played a factor in that transition period for you. So after all of that came out, what was your next move, or where did Yah bring you after all of these things started coming out?
So when my brother got the light bulb moment, then that's when the Most High is so amazing. The Most High used my brother. Shout out to DeAndre Wesley. He does our security at Prophecy Ministry. So if you know him, that's my blood brother, right? So used him as a vessel, because my brother was working at this job, and he had a coworker just for whatever reason hook him up with a video by brother Yerushalayim. And brother Yerushalayim did this video years ago breaking down Deuteronomy 28. And so my brother sent it to me, and I watched it, and everything made so much sense. And then so from brother Yerushalayim, then I'm like, okay. And then again, during that time period, I admit I did the ancestry DNA. This is before I came into the truth, but I just wanted to know these, like, where did I come from? Right.
Yeah.
So what got me in here is wanting to know, where did I come from? I know I'm not a black person. And Brother Narashalam broke that down like so clearly, like, every other race of people, if you say, Japanese, Japan, you say Chinese, China, you say Russian, Russia, right? But you say black, and then you tie us to, okay, you're from Africa. Great. What country? What tribe in Africa? Right? Africa is huge, right? So it was like, okay, I was on this journey to find out who I was. So when it came to the idea of, okay, you're a Israelite, then it's like, okay, well, what did we do? What did my ancestors do? How did we worship? What all did we do? So what took place was watching Brother Yerushalayim, and then I got introduced to Pastor Darby.
Okay, yeah.
Pastor Darby's fire,
Well,
right?
well,
Woke me up. Yeah,
gathered
woke
you
me
real
up.
good.
Yes, yep. And Pastor Darby came from a Christian standpoint, right? So
Yes.
watching Pastor Darby and watching his sermons like Negro Land and They Jacked Us, right? I like really, really woke me up. And I was like, okay. And then I even went and researched Negro Land. Oh, there's a Negro Land, like, you know what I mean? So and there's a Kingdom of Judah in the on pretty much where Nigeria is, on the west coast of Africa, where they pulled the slaves from, like, so all of this kind of like made sense. And I did more digging, and I said, okay. So then that turned into me and my brother watching this pastor out of Dallas, Philadelphia church. His name is Pastor Thibodeau. So we were watching, we were watching Pastor Thibodeau.
Yeah.
And so we were watching him every Saturday, I think. And we wasn't even following, like, we wasn't wearing fringes. We wasn't following the law. We just knew we were Israelites. And so I was like, I just want to watch somebody who's teaching from the Israelite standpoint. So we were watching Pastor Thibodeau, and he's lunar Sabbath. So we were like literally trying to figure out, like, okay, so this month is Wednesday. Next month, the Sabbath is on a Friday, So we were doing that. And then I guess the Most High was like, So my brother was at my house one day and watching YouTube, just watching, and we would start watching camp videos too, because we were getting a lot of precepts from these camp videos where they were debating people, and something wasn't sitting right with me with the camp, so I never really got with the camps, but they know the word, right? Which I call them now modern day Pharisees, right? So what happened from there is my brother ran across Pastor Prophet's video about the Bible app. It came up in his algorithm, and so then he clicked on the videos and started watching the messages. And so my brother was like, yo, it's this dude, like, he's breaking down the word. He's an Israelite too, So we started watching him because, like, Pastor Prophet, because, like, the videos were like fire, like the messages were fire. We understood them. And we were watching for a while. And then one day we're sitting there watching, and Prophet's like, here in Phoenix. And we looked at each other and said, Phoenix? Like, where? Because we're looking for a church. Like, I was literally going to go to Dallas to just to attend Pastor Thibodeau's church, right? So my brother found out where Prophecy Ministries was, and so he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna check it out. And I said, okay, well, you go check it out. And I was gonna go with them until he said it was a 4-hour service. I said, 4 hours? I was like, is that what Israelites do? 4 hours? I was like, I don't know if I want to be one of them. Like, I'm cool. So I'm not about to sit in church for 4 hours, because I'm not knowing what's going on. I'm just thinking we sitting there in church, and we, they doing some Jewish stuff, and it's 4 hours. So then my brother goes the first Saturday, and then he reports back, and he's like, no, it's not like that. Like, service is like an hour. They have lunch. And then, then it's a Bible study where everybody sits around and we ask questions. And I said, okay, I'll go with you next week. I go, and it was like 16 people in there, very small. And here we are.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. The Most High worked.
You went through it. And what a process it was to get you to where you are now. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful journey. I praise Yah for your journey too, especially having your brother along with you for this journey. That is something that not a lot of people do have in this walk of faith, having family join along with them, being able to experience it with them. A lot of people are just in this, by themselves, alone, being a soldier, trying to figure it out. Or for those who have family living at home, but are not interested. not interested in what this person is doing, what they're knowing, what they're finding out. And so I think that's a commendable thing. That shout out to your brother too, who was with you all in the process of this journey. Shout outs to you, sir, man of Yah. And so if we jump back right into your journey, Brother Darius, when it comes to the feast days and the observances, and then even the Sabbath, because your first experience now was going to one of the services and you got to, see what that was like for yourself. Tell us a little bit about what that transition period was like for you, because there's the holidays and now the holy days. What was that like?
So it was one of those things where it started off with keeping the Sabbath, right? Okay. And so it was that, and I was, because again, remember I was saying, like, I wanted to do what my ancestors did, like what did we do, right? So this is the reason I even have locks, is because of like, this is what I believe our ancestors, how we kind of had our hair or whatever. So it was just kind of returning back to that. So when it came down to keeping the Sabbath, that was the first transition, and that was an adjustment. It wasn't hard, right? Because we were wanting to keep the Sabbath, but because we were learning under Pastor Thibodeau, and he did a whole breakdown of the lunar Sabbath, and it made sense to us at the time. That was like tough, like, dang, like, how are we going to get a day off every month where we have to switch the day that we're saying we want off? Like, that's tough, right? But we were willing to do it. Then when we came to Prophecy Ministries, and Prophet broke down, like, no, like, this is the actual Sabbath, and we broke down all the scriptures, and that made way more sense. So that was the first transition, is keeping the Sabbath and wearing fringes, right? And then once we got locked into that, then our first feast day, actually, because we started attending November 2023 Prophecy Ministries, around November, end of October, early November. So whatever this time was, they had just came back from Feast of Tabernacles, because they were talking about tabernacles, right, at one of the services. And so, it was like, so I'm looking, I'm like, oh, they go camping. like Black people do that. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been camping before. I've always been invited camping. I'm like, I'm not about to sleep in the woods. Like, are you crazy? Right? So I'm like, oh, they do that here, right? And so, but I didn't understand that it was part of what needed to be done. I just thought that they were doing it like, hey, we're a small church, we're just gathering together, and this is what we're doing. And then the next kind of feast day that came around that I really locked into was Passover. And then, so it was Passover, and then that's when we moved into the new building, which was the last building we were in, because we were starting to grow. And so we moved into the new building, and we did Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread. And then, so that was the first feast day that I actually observed, was that. And then it became, okay, I need to separate from these folly days and lock into the feast days. And then, so as I'm learning, and I'm even on a panel at this time. I'm on a panel celebrating feast days for the first time, right? I'm learning as I'm going, and still trying to be like a teacher and try to, do what the Most High has called me to do within this ministry. And so what I gathered was, had I grown up following the feast days, they would come to me like Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these, like, because we grew up in that. So we know when it's coming, we know what to prepare for and all that. And I was just like, you know what? You got to teach this old dog new tricks. So it was just basically reshifting the focus on, okay, this is the feast days, and I can read Leviticus 23 and find out what those things are.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. I love it. So, I mean, you make it sound, I'm pretty sure it wasn't as easy as you're making it sound, because I know that a lot of us struggle with, first of all, me personally with the Sabbath, that was a lot to adjust with. But correct me if I'm wrong, was it easy to transition to the Sabbath? I mean, we're going from, the Christian church where we're spending like maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours or 3 hours if you're in a real charismatic Pentecostal Christian church, to like Sabbath, we're spending the whole day.
The whole day,
So what was that like for you? I'm curious to know.
So I grew, when I was about 14, 15 years old, I just had a gift to play drums. right?
Okay.
So and I'm saying this for a reason. So I started playing drums, and then by the time I was about 17, 18 years old, no, I would say about 18, I got hired at one of the bigger churches in Los Angeles, as a drummer, as a church drummer. I was never a member of the church. I was just a hired musician. And so I through this talent, I've been able to kind of make a name for myself within the Baptist church sector in Los Angeles. Like there's certain churches that oh, you're Darius, you're a really good drummer. I say that to say the church that I played drums at, they had 2 services every Sunday. So 7:30 a.m., 10:15 a.m. And then
Right.
they will have these things called 3:30 services, right? So the service started
Yeah.
at 3:30, a usher board program, pastor
Yeah.
anniversary,
Yeah.
whatever the case may have you. So there was times where I would be in church from 7:30 a.m. to like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
In these services. So sitting in services for that long of a time period wasn't new to me. It was just like, but I would tune out when it would come to the message, because you literally are saying the same thing every single week. You take Jesus to the cross every single week. And I'm looking
Yeah.
out and I'm like, these members been here for 30 years. They've heard this message before. Like, what can you teach them on how to get through their everyday life? Like, why is it you read 1 or 2 scriptures and then I have to get back on the drums with the organist because we're playing along while you're doing the hooping and hollering, and you're saying the same thing every single week. And I'm looking at people falling asleep while you're trying to break down the word. But then as soon as you take Jesus to the cross, everybody's up jumping around like they've never heard this thing before. So I'm just like, something's not adding up. So I was used to sitting in that. So then when it came to coming to Prophecy Ministries and okay, to our service or hour and a half service, however, the word is what was wanting to hear because I was thirsty for that. So imagine being thirsty and someone's just keep giving you water to drink, right? So that didn't bother me. And then we hit the Bible studies, and I'm able to ask questions, and we're breaking down stuff that I'm curious about and getting those questions answered. And then so by the time we're done with Bible study, it's like, oh wait, it's time to go already. Like that's and my brother told me that. My brother was like, you're not going to feel like you're in service for that long because you're going to be so locked in. So that part never bothered me as far as the length or anything, or even on just being on the Sabbath. I just had to, I was working for myself. So only thing I did was just basically, okay, I can't work on the Sabbath. And Sunday used to be my day off that I would take off from myself to watch football and barbecue and have friends over. So all that, the only thing that took place is, okay, I'm replacing Saturday with Sunday. So now my work week is Sunday to Friday. So that's all it was for me.
I love that. That's good. So you already had that experience. So if that wasn't, well, it seemed like that probably was would you say that was the easiest part of your transition, was the Sabbath worship, or was there something else about keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments that was easier for you? What would you say was the easiest part of your journey?
I would say it's a tie of keeping the Sabbath and the dietary laws. Now, those who know me know when it came to eating shrimp, I was a shark. Like shrimp was my thing. I would eat shrimp once a week, right? Loved shrimp, right? And I had literally just gotten good at smoking pork ribs. Like my pork ribs were fall off the bone fire. Like people will come over and be like, "Yo, you smoke some ribs?" You know what I mean? So it's like as soon as I get good at this, then it's like, "Oh, we can't eat that. Those are the abominations. Like we ain't supposed to be eating that." So I thought that I was going to struggle with that, but I literally didn't. Like it got to the point to like now, if I smell shellfish, it makes me sick to my stomach. Literally. Wow. I can't explain it, but literally when I smell shit, I went from, yo, that shrimp smell good. That crab lobster smells good. My mom is Creole. So, every New Year's Eve, or I would throw Super Bowl parties every year, and people would literally come over to have some of my mom's seafood gumbo. Woo. Crabs, shrimp, pork sausages in there. Like it would a whole abomination soup. You know what I mean? Goodness. So so going from that, I thought that would be a struggle for me, but it actually
Mhm.
wasn't. And then after a while, I don't even desire it anymore. Like it literally makes me sick to my stomach.
Crazy,
So
yeah.
I would say those two are, it's literally a tie of those two. I can't put one over the other because it was just this is what we do now. And I love Abba so much that if it displeases him, it displeases me. And I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but literally psychologically now, I cannot stand the smell of those abominable, things. So yeah,
Yes.
so it's pretty easy.
You said it. I like that you said, if it displeases Abba, it
Yep,
displeases me. We
that part.
cannot continue to do the things that displease him, right?
Right.
Because we do the things that we do it because we love him.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that, okay, so the Sabbath and the dietary laws was a part of the easiest of the transition.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say now is the hardest part of your transition?
The hardest part is realizing that I'm set apart and I'm wearing these fringes.
Hmm.
Because I thought that was going to be hard, but I actually enjoy wearing fringes because it makes me look different. Right. On top of, we're commanded to do it. And if it pleases Abba, it pleases me. Right. But
Mhm.
knowing that now, because I wear these fringes, I have to like, I can't just pop off on people. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where like during that time period when I first came into the truth and start following the laws, I would get tested a lot. It'd be one of those things where
Mm.
like I'm gonna check you type deal. And I'm not a tough guy. I don't want to make it seem like I'm a tough guy just going around fight. Like I'm not. Like people, I'm probably can't fight at all. Like for real. You know what I'm saying? I probably get folded. But I'm one of those people like you're not about to you're not about to punk me type deal.
Yeah.
So I would get tested, and then but it'd be like, yo, you got these fringes on, and if
Mm.
you go off on this white woman who is using her white privilege to try to, do this to you, right? Then what's going to happen is if it goes viral, it's not going to be black man goes off on white woman or whatever. It's going to be he's wearing those fringes. Oh, black Hebrew Israelite.
Israelite. Mm-hmm.
So it became I'm representing something bigger than just myself. Without the fringes, I just represent myself,
Yeah.
right? But with the fringes, I represent a people, right? So it's like, okay, you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. You can't be out there using profanity. You can't, do this and do these other things. And so that those tests and those manners was a little bit tough between that and the struggles and fight with family members who,
Mm.
and friends who now they look at me different because it's like you're in a cult or you're not a Christian anymore, and
Yeah.
you feel the energy switch. So that was kind of one of the toughest things. Luckily for me, what gets me through it and made it easier is the Mashpakah prophecy ministry. So I can empathize with people who are on an island by themselves, like celebrating feast days and things. But it's
Mhm.
hard for me to really see how it really is for them because I've always had either my family, my dad, my brother, even my mom eventually came over. That took some time, but my
Yeah.
mom came over. So my immediate family, truth, right? So I didn't have that too much of a big of a struggle. And then I got prophecy ministries and the people that are there, and I'm there every week, and we're all on the same page. So it was easier for me to be like, you know what, I could separate from my biological family because at the end of the day, that's what Yahweh Shai says is going to happen anyway.
Powerful. Very, very powerful. I'm a pivot real quick because you said some things that I really want to dig in just a little bit more. But I want to shout out to our brothers and sisters who are in the comment section who are vibing with everything that you're saying. It's resonating with them, especially in the section where you are speaking about, the dietary laws and letting go of the shrimp, gumbo, and all that jazz. And
Yes.
those of you who are who are listening in tonight, and Brother Darius's story is resonating with you. Thank you so much for joining us and staying on. You are here with us. Watch Return to Torah, and we appreciate you so much. And so Brother Darius is taking us down the trip of memory lane of how he returned back to the ancient paths, rather. And he's just been sharing with us the easiest part of his transition and the hardest part of his transition. Now, I know for a fact that a lot of us have struggled with coming into the truth alone.
Yeah.
Or there are those of you who've had to say goodbye
Mm-hmm.
to friends, to acquaintances or comrades, or just people that you love for the sake of, like you said, you feel that energy shift. So for those of us
Yep.
who are probably still struggling with that,
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of getting over that hill, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
know there are those who are still struggling with that. And so before we even go on to the rest of the questions for this evening, for those who are still struggling with that energy shift, I like that terminology. I'm gonna use that for the
Mm-hmm.
energy shift. What would you say, just for a few words of encouragement to our brothers and sisters who are facing that right now, the energy shift, like they've just come out of Christianity
Mm-hmm.
and they've lost their circles, or people are
Mm-hmm.
looking at them differently, people are treating them differently. What would you say to them tonight?
What did Yahweh Shai say? He says, if you don't hate your that's you know what, let's bring that up. See
Mm-hmm.
if I can find that precept here. Um, but he talks about, Yahweh Shai talks about, if you don't, hate your mother, your father, your Luke 14:26.
Bring it out.
Luke 14:26 says, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yeah, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for that is one of those things where you have to make this decision, right? Are you going to stand on what you know is right, what you know is the truth, stand on your faith, um, and be that example, right? And be that seed planter. Like, somebody has to plant the seed, right? And so with that, you when it says hate, like, these people, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna hate you in a sense of like you want to fight these people or anything of that nature. Like, it's more so like you have to be willing to give these things up, right? He also gives this promise that if you give these things up, then you're going to get that in return in the kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's another precept that speaks of that. And so it's, how deep is your faith, right? How important is it for you to be that generational curse breaker? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
under these curses. So it's an honor to be the vessel, to be the person to break generational curses, right? So you are actually blessed. You're blessed to be in this set apart situation. If we're going to say we're holy, and not just holy to the people outside your circle, you're holy
Mm-hmm.
within the people inside your circle, in your own household, right? Yahweh
Mm-hmm.
Shai says, I'm not coming to bring peace. I'm coming to bring
Sword.
it's about to be up.
Yeah.
And and the other scripture talks about some of your own enemies are the ones that are in your actual household, right?
Ooh.
So the scriptures literally tell us that this thing is going to happen. So when you know that and you see it, that should bring even more confidence and more of assurance that that book is real, because it literally predicts that this is going to happen. So when it does happen, it's like, okay, well, I already knew the playbook before it happened, right? I see it. So for me, it's one of those things where I've always stood on my own. I didn't care what other people thought about me, and I learned that from who my grandfather was, and in LA, and when I would play drums at these churches, and they found out who my grandfather was. It's like, oh, you're Reverend Wesley's grandson.
Mm.
Oh, because my grandfather had made a name for himself, throughout the course, and a lot of the pastors that were older during this time period, that was, in these circles, they were mentored by my grandfather, back in the 60s and 70s, things of that nature. So I always had this thing where it's like, okay, I have to uphold the Wesley last name. So I used
Mm.
to be fake. I used to walk around churches fake, like, oh, well, I can't
Mm.
display that I listen to rap music. I can't display that this is, who I really am, like how I am. And I wasn't a bad kid. It wasn't like I was a bad kid. I was in the book. I went to Bible college as a kid. I was in the scriptures, but I also, there are certain things where it's not a sin. We know now it's not a sin, but
Yes.
because of the judgment that took
Yes.
place in church, it was like,
Yes.
okay, you have to walk like this. And then by my mid-20s, I said, man, forget that. Like, I'm my own person. It's not like I'm gang banging or using drugs, selling drugs,
Yes.
nothing. Like, it's just, if I want to if I get caught listening to rap music just down the street, like, I shouldn't feel ashamed about that, because at the end of the day, it's not, I'm not doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? I listen to gospel music too. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm just being myself. And so once I figured that out, and once I was, because the thing that took place was, I was doing everything I thought what I was supposed to do, and people were still talking about me. Like, my own family members were still saying stuff behind my back, right? So when I figured out, it doesn't matter what you do, people are still going to talk about you. They're going to have a problem, especially if you don't do things exactly how they would want. You could do things 90% the way that they would want you to do it, but that 10% you do different, they're going to take issue with that. 100%. So it doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, I'm going to do what makes me happy, and I don't care what you say, because you're not paying my bills. If yes, I love you as family, I love you as a friend, but if you were removed from my life, then what impact do you have on my life? If that is very limited, good luck with me caring about what you say about me or how you feel about me. So I took that into where we're at now, to where it's I know I'm in the truth. The scriptures make sense to me. I don't care what y'all say. But guess what? I still love y'all. And if y'all ever want to come and ask me questions, I'm going to have everything ready to go specifically for y'all. So it got to a point where you have to not care. And I know it may be tough when you're by yourself. If you're the only one around, you're the only one in your household, or whatever the case may have you. But who's more important, Yahweh or family members? None of y'all have a heaven or a hell to put, or a lake of fire to put me in. So who is more important, the person that can hurt my physical body, or the person who can do something to my body and my soul?
100%. Y'all need to just make sure you're taking notes, because Brother Darius has definitely given us a whole lot to chew on tonight. It is a definite factor that many of us are struggling with this thing, Brother Darius, and you said it right. We have to get to that place where we realize what is more important. Pleasing Yah or pleasing man. And the thing is about growing up in the church culture, one of the things rather is that many of us grew up with that church culture and the mental knowledge of, this is the person that I look up to. This is the person that's, passing the mantle down, the invisible manta, the invisible baton. And so because there is this person, there's this elder, there's this pastor, there's this bishop, there's this apostle that's in my family, who has paved this way, we have to behave a certain way. And even coming out of that is a whole story all by itself. I'm glad that you were able to navigate that, because that truly is a struggle for a lot of people. I myself had to navigate out of that. And it took a while for me to even look at myself and be like, oh my goodness, do I really rather please man than please Abba? Like, why is this so hard for me right now? I'm over here crying in a corner. I'm lamenting. My heart is feeling like it's broken. And I know, I can see by the comments that a lot of our brothers and sisters have gone through the same thing, where they've had to separate from people, and it cost them a lot. But congratulations to you, and all praise to the Most High for the rest of us who have made that step and who are committed to that. So I love that for you. I'm very happy to hear that tonight. So now you've shared with us, what was easiest, you shared what was hard, and you've also shared some words of wisdom for all of us who are still in that transition period. What would you say are the things, if not one or two, or maybe it is just one, what is that thing that you are still working on, Brother Darius?
One of the things I'm working on, still being worked on me, is definitely patience. And overall, I'm a very patient person, right? I'm not super quick to pop off, except there's just these few little things that will will cause me to lose some of my patience. So that's one thing, and it's definitely driving in traffic. For whatever reason, been in positions to where, I don't know what it is about here in Arizona, but these Arizona drivers, and I'm not gonna say Arizona, I'm not gonna say even I'm gonna say Arizona drivers, but it's not Arizona drivers. It's those who have sojourned in to being a Phoenician or whatever, because the locals, the people who grew up here, they can't stand them either, right?
Wow.
But it's one of those things to where Phoenix is such a melting pot of people from all over because of the weather and whatever the case may have you, that you get different attitudes. It's such it's a gumbo of mindsets. So you get these people who they think that their car is going to 100% protect them, so they get a little froggy while they in the vehicle.
Oh boy.
And so they do these things where that they know what they're doing, but they're purposely being disrespectful behind the wheel. And so that gets to me. And there's been times where people have done just things like reckless to where it's like, okay, we're about to we almost got into an accident. So if I honk my horn a little bit, like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you flipping me off? Oh, you think your car's going to protect you? So there was times where, and this is me, like, I'm in the truth at this point. Like, I'm on the panel, you know what I'm saying? Like early on, right? Like, so, and there was one time where I literally could have went to jail, and the Most High saved me from that, because I literally was so angry. Like, I literally wanted to take these people lives, like that, the spirit of anger. I was under the influence of my anger, right? Where I literally, like, out here in Arizona, you can carry, like, firearms, as long as you're of age, don't have a felony, the whole nine. I literally had my firearm on my lap, ready to pop off. And the Most High made it to where I couldn't catch up to these people, and I could not find them. I drove around a neighborhood that I seen them turn down for like 20 minutes trying to find a car. Yes.
No, you didn't.
Yes. And so when that happened and I cooled off and I realized I probably could be in jail right now had I found them.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Because I was literally like, when a lot of people use that sober-minded thing and they only equate it to drugs and alcohol. But you can be under the influence of your anger. Right? How many times have we seen people who, they've crime of passion, right? They caught their spouse cheating. They're so angry that they just murk everything, right? And then but it's like, okay, well, we have to give him some grace because there is a crime of passion. Like, that's literally saying you were under the influence of this spirit of anger. So I had to learn to take control of this spirit of anger. And in these certain situations, again, I'm not an angry person. People who know me, like, somebody told me the other day, like, Jesse Navarro was like, bro, like, you're always smiling, you're always happy. I'm just like, hey, it's the Most High, right?
It's the Most High.
But there's times where, in certain situations where there's those 2 or 3 things that is going to set me off, and it's like this, like the enemy was like testing me on that, because it's like, oh, you in the truth now? You keeping the Sabbath? You wearing fringes? Bet. Let me try to get you up out of here. You know what I mean? So once I got that figured out, it's like, okay, I worked on that. And then once I started working on that and understanding the spiritual aspect of it, because I didn't understand spiritual aspect of things, right? When it came to spiritual stuff, it was scary to me. It was almost like, oh, it's a scary movie. Oh, it's a spirit. Oh, it's a ghost in the house. Like, I used to always watch those shows, Hunted and things of that nature, where people would tell their stories. I moved into this house and all of a sudden, my refrigerator door always open and orange juice was on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, I would always watch these things growing up. And so when it came to spiritual things, I equated it to that. So it was scary to me.
Right.
But then once I came into the truth and I met certain people, I became really good friends with this woman who was part of the ministry. Her name was Trish, and she taught the Most High used her as a vessel to teach me the spiritual aspect of things, because she's Jamaican, right? And the island people are really heavily into witchcraft and the spiritual things, right? So when she taught me all of these things and I soaked it up and I started to understand, oh, this is flesh and this isn't flesh and blood. It's spiritual, right? So once I learned that, and once I learned that the music we listen to brings up certain spirits in us, right? You can listen to certain, like, drill music, right? Like literally, you know, you talk to these kids that they go do drive-bys or they go and they're about to go fight somebody. They put on certain music.
Yep, to get them pumped.
To get them pumped up. And it's like, oh, I'm getting pumped up. No, that music is releasing a spirit in you.
Spirit. Yep.
And so once I learned all of that, I changed the music that I listened to. And then and that helped a lot. Like it got to the point to where, like, when people would jump in front of me, that used to set me off. It didn't anymore. It didn't bother me. So then once I figured out, okay, like once I knew the spirit was starting to boil up in me of anger, I would not do. A lot of times in Christianity, they say, oh, I'll rebuke it. No, you're correcting it when you say rebuke. No, we're getting up out of here. So I would pray it off me. And I would even say out loud, spirit of frustration, spirit of anger, you're not welcome here. You got to get up out of here. I'm not going to be frustrated today. I'm not going to be, this thing is not going to frustrate me. This thing is not going to upset me. And you're not welcome here. In the name of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, you are commanded to leave. Because Yahweh says we do have this, that gift to do that. Like we can't do that. You make these commands, and the spirit world has to follow the laws. Spirit world follows laws and rules. So if you tell it to leave, and you shout out big bro, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, I've noticed, like within a matter of like a minute or so, that spirit will be gone off me, and I'm straight. So I that's what I do now. Once I learned that this is the spirit world is more real than the physical world, because the spirit world affects what happens in the physical. And once I learned that's helped me a lot.
I love that. You said something that was very profound. And even in my own experience, and maybe there are others who can resonate with this as well, that we left churchianity and all of that. And we know a lot of part of the charismatic churches, spirituality was like the driving force, the emotional piece of it. And so when we left that and we transitioned to coming into the truth, a lot of us left all of the spirituality, left all of the emotional pieces there too. And we came into the truth, and we came just very poised, very straight, very stiff. If I can use that word for a lack of a better word, like very stiff. And then when we see these things erupt, we forget those are some good things that we did learn. So you mentioned the spiritual aspect of things. There are things that are spiritually discerned.
Yes.
For truth to be told, there are things that are spiritually discerned, and there are many of us who don't realize that when we get frustrated, when we get overwhelmed, when we get angry, or any other emotion that we feel, it is a spirit that is being attached to us. It is the spirit that is coming to us. And then there are things that we must do to get them removed, to be delivered, or to be made set free. And so those are some things that we learned in churchianity, but then once we came to the truth, we just kind of said, oh, okay, well, if that was a lie, this was a lie, then everything was a lie. And we threw the whole thing out, right? And now we're learning all over again. So for those of you who didn't know, and you heard it for the very first time, praise Yah. And for those of us who did know, and you are, prayer warriors, you like to intercede, and when something is not of you, it's not, this is not how I usually operate. I don't like being angry myself. I do not like being angry.
Right.
I don't like being frustrated. And I know that once I feel these ways, you and yourself have to be so sober minded and realize that when something is happening, you're like, this is not the way I usually act on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for pointing that out, because I know that's going to help somebody in the comment section. If that helped you, or if you knew this already and you just needed to be reminded, you're reminded of something, of a tool that you didn't realize you still had, I need you to just go ahead and comment that in the comment section. Thank you so much, Brother Darius, for pointing that out, because many of us are struggling with different emotions daily, and we're losing battles because of this. Right? So I think that's an important thing to say, even though that is something that you are still overcoming, you are still growing in, you are still maturing in. I think that's a beautiful experience to acknowledge, because especially coming from you as a man, if I can say that, as a brother, many men, it's a natural thing to be alpha, or to be macho, or to be strong. And, if you don't show emotion, then you a punk, or, you're a like that. So coming from you, hearing it, it's very freeing to hear. It is. If I can say that, it's very freeing to hear and to also acknowledge that men, as strong as you become, or the stronger you become in the Most High, these are the things that are going to present themselves. And you are able to handle your emotions and to handle these feelings as the scriptures tells us how to handle them. So thank you again so much for pointing that out. I just want to read a couple of the comments that, are coming through, especially about fighting these battles and those who are actually being a witness to saying, you know what? I did struggle with this and now I'm overcoming it. I'm still overcoming it. I want to read a couple of those comments for you tonight, because even the ones that you made mention, leaving family and stuff like that, I want to read some of those comments for you tonight before we go to the next section. Coming in the comment section, I made the choice to leave my immediate family, who was my tribe in Brooklyn, to obey Yah and to live where I am now, alone with my husband and our children here in the mountains, upstate New York. So there are others who are, they're making that decision, as hard as it may be, to live for Yah. It's the sacrifice, right? You may mention the sacrifice, and there are those that are talking about it even too. Now my mom is following the ministry and started to walk in the way. So all praises to Abba. She is new in her walk. All praises to the Most High for that.
All praises. Yes.
All praises to the Most High for that. I love that. I love that. I love that. I know that you were talking about the traffic in Phoenix and that helping to cultivate, your emotions, as far as you were talking about anger and the spirit of anger. Listen, road rage, for all the Canadians who live in Ontario, like myself, let me tell you, if you think, Brother Darius, you got something going on in Phoenix, you need to come to Canada.
I need to come to Canada.
You got to come down to Ontario.
Yeah.
You got to drive on the streets of Toronto. I'm telling you, it will test you. It will prove if you are a son of the Most High. I'm telling you. Because, oh boy, I know. I see it in the comment section. I feel you guys, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So when you said that, I know that it resonated with a lot of us, because a lot of us didn't know that we still had rage. A lot of us didn't know that we still had anger. But then when these moments do come up, it shows us who we really are. Yeah. And the funny thing is, there are some of us who are winning, some of us who are successful, and just looking at it and be like, whatever, I've been there, done that, past that stage of my life. But then there are a lot of us who are still struggling with that. Who don't mind saying, guess what? Even if I'm 5-10 minutes late for work, I'm going to drive down this person and I'm going to let them know today. That part, right? They going to know, right? Especially when you meet them at the red light and you roll down the window and you looking like this.
Yes, I've done that plenty of times. Like, I'm going to check your temperature. Like, I'm a whole thermometer out here. I'm going to pull up on you. Yeah. Like, I've done that a few times. And so what I've noticed is, when every single time I pulled up on somebody and I'm like, I'm gonna check this goofy, it's like they didn't want any smoke. And all praises to Yah, because say they was having a bad day too. So just say they was having a bad day and they're under the influence of their anger, right? Yes. Again, I'm not a tough guy. There's somebody out there tougher than anybody, right? So and again, we're in the state where 70% of vehicles have firearms in them. So it's dangerous to do that. Oh, wow. 7 out of 10 cars, somebody has a firearm in that vehicle. So it can turn real ugly real quick. But it's one of those things where I know for me, when I'm under the influence of my anger, like, it's one of those things where I've said, like, I'll die just to prove a point. Wow. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much that, this being under the influence of this anger, when it does get there, it gets there. But for me, it takes a while for me to get there. It just doesn't happen. Like, I just don't pop off right away. But when I get there, it's like, you got to let bro run his course. Right. And I've noticed, I'll give you 2 examples real quick. And this is me. So one, everybody probably seen in the Bible study a couple of weeks ago. And the other one happened while I was coming from the baptism tour in Dallas.
Yes, sir. We saw. Yes, sir.
I'll explain that in a second.
Talk to us.
So the first thing happened a little while ago in Dallas, and I had been out there for a whole week, and part of what I do is I do a lot of like door dashing. And
Okay.
so I was able to dash out there. Like I was literally like, I'm out here for a week. So I was able to work. I had to rent a car, the whole nine. So I'm dashing every day. And every day I'm putting gas in the car, don't have any problems. Everything is good. So the last day that I'm there, my flight's not till like in the evening. So I'm like, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go, work all day, and then I'm gonna end at this time, head to the airport. Everything was going cool, and then all of a sudden I get sent my last delivery. I get sent somewhere super far away in the opposite direction of where I'm trying to go. Okay, whatever. Let me hurry up and get this done. Bam. So then I go try to get gas. I go to the gas pump doesn't work. So now I'm just like, okay, now I'm being delayed. And so now I'm feeling this spirit of frustration building up, right? And so then I go to the next gas station, stop there, put my card in, and I kid you not, I've been getting gas. I've been putting gas in my car since I was 16 years old. I've been driving since I was 16. Never once in my life have my debit card got stuck in a gas pump. This day it got stuck in a gas pump.
Oh my goodness.
I can't do anything. So now I have to go get the attendant. I'm like trying to rush and the whole nine, and he can't figure out my card is just stuck. And mind you, I'm on the phone with somebody who I'm trying to bring into the truth. So in my mind, I'm like, I can't snap and lose it, because that's going to mess up the witness that I have of this person that I'm speaking to on the phone. So as soon as I realized, okay, this is a spiritual battle, let me pull back, and I'm not going to let this thing take over. I promise you, and I know we're not supposed to promise, but I'm just letting you know this is how truthful this is. As soon as the Spirit brought that to my remembrance, and I realized that, and I took a step back and said, okay, everything is in the control of the Most High. Do you know that everything else went so smooth for the rest of the day? Literally, it was rush hour traffic time during this time period. I had no traffic going to the airport. I got there early. I was sitting around for almost an hour by the time I finally checked the car in and the whole nine. And I felt like if I would have lost it, I would have been even probably more delayed, and because I would have felt that test, and I probably would have been late in the whole nine. But it was that thing where I was tested, and because I realized what it was, the Spirit allowed me to realize what it was, and I had to kill my flesh. And so because I killed the flesh, the Most High provided favor, and everything rode smooth for me going, continuing. Now, the thing that happened a couple of weeks ago. Now, we know that was a little bit of a buildup, right, from some time period, and we all, we're talking about Brother Jonathan, and I want to make it known, I love Brother Jonathan. Me and him talked about it. We squashed it before Passover and everything, and it wasn't even a problem. I wasn't even upset, right? Because people are like, oh, you're upset. No, you haven't seen me upset. I wasn't upset, but I was assertive, right? And what the test was for me in that aspect was, I felt like it was a test of my manhood, because what a lot of people didn't hear is when I had came out and I was like, why are we still harping on this? Shut it down. You know what I mean? When it was said, come say it in the mic because you got an order. To me, it was like, oh, you testing my manhood.
A challenge.
It was that's the way I viewed it. Right. So initially I was going to go to the mic that I was next to, but then that spirit in me was like, no, he tried to punk you. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go say it not only I'm gonna say it in the mic, I'm gonna say it right in your face. Right. But I wasn't gonna fight him. I wasn't angry. Was I irritated and frustrated? Yes, because I couldn't the commotion was so loud outside of the young adult room that they couldn't hear me teaching. That's the only reason why I had came out. So I came out to say, yo, kind of what's going on. And then so when that test came of a test of pride, right? Yes. Because that's what it boiled down to, it was the pride. Oh, you're telling me to come say it in the mic? So that I failed, because I then was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna let him know, no, I'm not about to fight, bro. We're not about to do that. That's my brother, right? But as family, we do get into it sometimes, but we love each other. We dap it up. It's over with. So for me, I felt that test of I feel like you tried to punk me in front of everybody, and so I'm gonna go say it to your face, because you trying to play me. And then that's the way I took it. So that's the only reason why I even went over there. But it wasn't to fight him. It wasn't to try to do anything of that nature. But it was going to be, I'm gonna let you know I'm being very assertive. This needs to stop. Type deal. But it came off, if you weren't there, it came off a certain way.
Right.
So, but I do admit that was something that I failed, and everybody's seen it, and I'm okay with that because we're all human, and that's just, sometimes that happens, and now I know next time control that a little bit more. Right?
Wow.
So it was a learning lesson, and all is good. I love Ak. Like, me and him are good, and it's all praises that I'm able to use the wisdom and experience to allow me to be better moving forward.
That is wonderful. I commend you for even sharing that here tonight, simply because a lot of times different things can happen, different things can take place. And we, as the viewer or us on the outside, don't see the whole picture. Not that we need to, not that we need to understand, but I think even in your growth process, you took the mature step and said, hey, this is where I fell short. That was my bad. That takes a lot of character as well. Yes, it takes a lot of integrity to admit that. And I appreciate that too. And I know that everyone else will appreciate that as well, because it is one thing to grow, but it's also another thing to grow in front of people. Public growth is not easy, because those who know us know we can do better. They know what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are. And when they see us don't do better, it adds an extra layer to our disappointment. And it can be very discouraging. But I do applaud you for taking it on the way that you did. And thank you even the more to even sharing the piece of explanation with us, because that also helps the maturity part, right? That helps take responsibility for things that happen. And that's something that not a lot of people see happen on their day-to-day basis. We don't see enough men taking responsibility for their actions. They might say, oh, well, it was my bad. I'm sorry about it. But do we actually hear it? Do we actually hear you taking onus and responsibility for your mistakes made, especially when it's done publicly, right? So we don't hold you accountable. We don't, fault you for anything, but I do
all praises.
I do appreciate you. Yeah, because you know what you said, but as a viewer myself, looking at it from the other way, I was like, yeah. Right? But all praises to the Most High that all things are well. We don't get to see the aftermath. And we don't get to see the exchange where there is a common ground, a conversation that is held, and love is exchanged, and forgiveness is given, and all is well. We don't get to see that part, right? So the fact that you even shared that with us tonight, I am very appreciative of that, and I know that many of our viewers will also appreciate that as well. Thank you so much, Brother Darius. You've been such a great supporter tonight. Really, really appreciate you. And the hour has gone by so quickly that we're down to the last stretch already.
All right.
So we had a question that I'm going to ask if I could tag team with you to answer this question. We have a visiting apostle in the comment section.
Okay.
Someone that I know. I won't reveal exactly who that person is, but she is an apostle, woman of God. And she was asking, what is the truth that you are all talking about? Everything about the Almighty God is spiritual. So please explain your truth. Now, I'm ready to answer that question, but you are our special guest tonight. And so if you could explain in a few words, and then I might just piggyback, or I might be able to offer a different perspective of what you shared tonight. What is this truth that we are talking about tonight? I mean, the show is called Returning to Torah. So go ahead, and if you could answer Apostle's questions tonight.
It's kind of hard to answer that in a few words, because there's so many precepts that also come to mind in regard to that. So I'm not sure. I would need more context as far as, like, is she asking, like, what is the truth? Because we say we're in the truth. Right.
I think that's what the context of the question is.
That's the context, because she mentioned something about spiritual. So I wasn't sure because we talked about, being a spiritual battle. So I'm not sure if she's talking about what is my truth as far as spirituality, or what's the truth that we're speaking of as we're using as a blanket statement. So is it the blanket statement
I think let's go with the blanket statement because we use that verbiage a lot more than the other part. So because we use it a lot, I'm feeling like, and if she's still joining us with us in the comment section, she can definitely chime in and just let us know if we've answered her question or not, or right or wrong. But I think because we do use that as a blanket statement so much, the truth. Go ahead.
The truth is, like your show, returning to the Torah. The Torah is the truth, right? Returning back to Ecclesiastes 12:13, right? Fear Yah, keep his commandments, for that is the whole duty of man. Like that is our whole duty, is to fear Yah, meaning to love the Most High and keep his commandments. We're taught in churchianity that the laws are done away with. And you even talk to certain people that tell you we don't have to follow all of the 10 commandments. Right, in churchianity, which that's not true. The truth is, we need all this is about following the commandments, because sin is transgression of the law. So when you talk to most people in churchianity and you ask them what is a sin, the best answer they give a lot of times is it's something that's displeasing to God. And they literally don't know that there is literally 3 scriptures that tell you exactly what a sin is. And sin is transgression of the law. If it wasn't for the law, I would not know what a sin is, because if it wasn't for the law saying thou shalt not covet, I would not know what lust is. Like it's one of those things where the truth is we need to get back to these laws and commandments. The truth is we are the true Israelites. The truth is that this book, this Bible, is about us. That's the truth.
100%.
In a nutshell, like it's, and again, it's just hard. Like I usually, when I have these conversations, I like to give the precepts, because you know how we roll at Prophecy Ministries.
I feel you.
We just don't just give you opinions. Like here's the precept to back that up. But if we're going to give cliff notes and keep it short, the truth is we need to get back to these laws and commandments, because if you read Deuteronomy 28, we made a covenant with the Most High, and as when we were following these laws and commandments, those first 15 verses about the blessings, that's us. I look at the GMOs, the ish, and how they're looked at around the world. Well, maybe not as of recently, but years prior, where it's like, oh, they're God's chosen people, and there was this fear and reverence for them, and it seemed like they had everything, right? They had the money, they controlled all the industries. That was supposed to be us. What they had outside of a lot of the wickedness that they do, that's supposed to be us as a set apart people. But because we removed ourselves from the truth, and we were taught that this truth is actually a lie, now we're under these curses. And in order to break those generational curses, we need to get back to the truth of the matter is fear Yah, keep his commandments, because that's the whole reason why we're here. That is the truth.
Amen. 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 I couldn't have said it better myself. And if I could just add a few words to what Brother Darius said, I trust, Apostle, that you are still here joining us, watching this live show at this moment. And pertaining to your question, what is this truth that we're talking about? I think Brother Darius expounded that in a very beautiful way. But if I could just add a few words to that, it is like what this show is called, returning to Torah. The Torah is the truth. And if I could break that down even a little bit more, might I say, I even heard, Apostle, woman of God, I heard you teach a message about returning to the ancient paths. That is exactly what the truth is.
Exactly.
Going back to the old landmark.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I get a con in the comment section? It's going back to the way how things used to be, because those things please Abba Yah.
Yep.
So that is the truth that we're talking about. Anything outside of that, hey, it's not what I said. It's not what Brother Darius said. It's what the scriptures say. And so if we love him, we keep his commandments. As a matter of fact, do me a favor, y'all. We're coming out to the crunch line of tonight's show and tonight's episode with our beloved brother Darius joining us. It's a 3-hour time difference, but we pushed through tonight. We pushed. All praises to the Most High Yahweh. I need you guys to join me in the comment section and say, we do this because we love him. Let me see you drop that in the comment section below. We do this because we love him. We return to the Torah because we love him.
We love him.
We honor the Sabbath because we love him.
Mm-hmm.
We put aside all the abominable foods because we love
We
him.
love him.
All that we do is because we love him. So
Yep.
I need y'all to drop that in the comment section below. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
We do it because we love him.
All
God.
praises.
Yes, we love that. Okay, Brother Darius, we have one last thing for you this evening before we wrap up. Now, for those who are watching and they are hearing like the question that we just received about this truth walk,
Mm-hmm.
there are those that are struggling with understanding the concept of leaving what they've known all their lives, like
Mm-hmm.
many of us, to go back to the old landmark, for lack of a better word, or to the ancient paths, to return to Torah.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say as your final words tonight to that heart, that believer who is hearing these words, who is, in between a rock and a hard place, or maybe they're not even thinking about that at all. Maybe they're having a great time, their salvation walk. They're like, I'm Gucci, I'm good. I don't know about you, but I'm good. What would you say to that person tonight?
It goes back to the wise words of King Solomon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ecclesiastes 12:13. Like, if there is one Bible verse that you should memorize, that you should hold to heart, it's Ecclesiastes 12:13. Because to me, that is for me personally, that is the foundation of everything. Because King Solomon is one of my, like, I love that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like his wisdom, right? It just is just, it's amazing. And the wisest man that had everything. When you read through the book of Ecclesiastes, he tells you, I didn't have all this stuff, and it's all vanity. It all
Mm-hmm.
boils down to fearing Yah and keeping his commandments, because that is our whole duty. And when you understand that, and when you understand the words of Yahweh Shah, if you love me, keep my commandments, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it all boils down to that, it shows that you're kingdom minded. All this stuff down here doesn't matter. It's all vanity. It's going to burn up. Your life is only but a vapor. So all this stuff that we strive for, we go to work every day. We work hard for all this stuff. And at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so your thoughts, your actions, your heart, everything should be focused on the kingdom, focused on Yah. It's going to be tough, because the scriptures tell us it's going to be tough. But at the end of the day, nothing that's worth it is going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh Shai was that example, from him being tempted by Hasatan, right? To just going through the bearing his cross, meaning his affliction, right? For us, right? Because this is how much our Abba, our Father, loves us, that
Mm-hmm.
he would cause all of these things to take place, because it's not an easy thing to do. Again, it's a narrow path, and there's a lot of people that's not going to make it, because they cannot handle the narrow path. So you have been chosen to be that example. Not only the example for others to get them on the narrow path, but you also have been chosen to walk this narrow path, because there's so many people that are still under the strong delusion. So you are special. You're set apart. You have been awakened at the proper time before it's too late. And so the main thing you need to do is fear Yah, keep his commandments, and everything else will fall into place if you trust him. Hebrews 11 should be a chapter that you read in regards to faith, because it's impossible to please Yah without faith. So keep his commandments, have faith. And King Solomon also said this: enjoy life.
Yes.
Eat, drink, and be merry.
Yes.
We work, and the Most High gave us a day to be merry. He gave us the Sabbath. He basically said, I know y'all are not you're going to work 7 days a week if I don't force you to sit down, because the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Right. So it's one of those things where fear Yah, keep his commandments, love your neighbor as yourself, and have faith. And just endure through everything, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough. So when you go into it knowing that this is all spiritual, that this is going to be a tough battle, when you come in knowing and you put on the armor, the full armor of Yah, and you're ready for the snares, the wiles of the devil, lock into that. Lock into the Masha Paka. We're in the day and age where we have the internet. You and I have never met in person. You're in a whole nother country, and we're having a conversation with a bunch of people who are watching and gathering along with us. Like, that is a special thing. That's a special time. We're in a special moment. And so we need to take advantage of that and understand that those of you who feel like you're alone and on an island, you're not, because we have the internet. The internet is a blessing where we can still connect. And if you can make it out here to Phoenix, make it out here to Phoenix. For at least for one of these appointed feast days, we're supposed to be here. Like, show up. Tabernacles is going to be the biggest thing. If you can't do anything else, save up your money, get you a tent, try to get yourself here for Tabernacles, because that is the biggest 7-day. They had Woodstock and all that, what they call it, Coachella. Like, that ain't nothing compared to when we are here at Tabernacles. So I would say just focus on that, and the Most High got you. Trust him.
Well said, Brother Darius. Well said. Well said. Some very strong, sober words of wisdom coming from Brother Darius tonight. Thank you so much. Before you go, yes, all praise to the Most High Yah. I got to read these words of encouragement and precepts for all of us tonight. I'm telling you, we got some keyboard warriors in the chat making it known. Y'all are coming through. I love to see it. Deuteronomy 28, 1-10, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. Woo, they put the whole thing in here. Y'all know how it goes. Y'all know how it reads. Thank you, brother, for putting that into the chat. Revelations 22:14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, and they that have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Yah is bringing his people together for such a time as this, and a whole bunch of cons and amans are in the chat tonight. We love it. It's beautiful.
Matthew 19:29. I will leave you with that. Those who are struggling with losing family members and things, I'll read it real quick.
Go ahead.
Matthew 19:29 says, and everyone that has forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So allow that to be a staple in your life. Those who are going through it with their family and they feel like they're losing a lot of things for walking into this truth. These are the words of Yahweh Shai. Matthew 19:29. It will give you some of that hope and encouragement that you need to be heavenly minded, because you're going to get all that back in the kingdom. And it's never going to go away once you're in the kingdom.
It's never going to go away when you're in the kingdom. Sobering words for the conclusion tonight. Thank you again, Brother Darius, for joining. And thank you for pushing through. Like I said, Brother Darius was the MVP on tonight, and we appreciate him. So go ahead and show Brother Darius some love in the chat section. Go ahead.
All praises.
I want to see those hearts. I want to see those likes. Thank you so much. All praise to the Most High Yahweh. Yes. Thank you. And now,
thank you for the platform.
Yes, for the
Thank
platform.
you for the platform. Thank you
all
for the platform. We appreciate it. And everybody, push this platform, push this podcast, share it, hop on every single week. This is awesome. And I'm praying that that the new platform that you're using now will get rid of all that the enemy was trying to do. And I feel like all of this happened for a reason.
It did.
Right? It happened for a reason, and we still got it done. All praises to the Most High. But thank you for being diligent and having the being the vessel to have this returning the Torah, because this is awesome and powerful. So all praises to the Most High for you being that vessel.
Thank you so much. All praise to the Most High. Thank you, Darius, for joining us tonight. Thank you, family, for joining us. I know that it's late, but guess what? Y'all don't got to go to work tomorrow. Kids don't got to go to school tomorrow, so y'all can sleep in and have a wonderful night's rest. If you do got to go to work, may y'all bless you and keep you. Philippians 4:13 will be your portion. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. That is the end of episode 3, Returning to Torah. We will be back at the same place. I'm not going to say the same time, because we're not going to be here this time next week.
Right.
It's going to be much better. I promise. we're going to have at least one show start at 7 p.m. Standard Time.
Go.
I promise y'all. I promise y'all. We love you. Shalom, shalom, and shalom. Have yourselves a good night, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you all so much.